I don't think my oiler's working. This is a hand-filed square ground chain. It's got a little bit of use on it. I'm going to pause you guys, and I'm going to go throw a hand-filed round on it. Alrighty guys, the oiler's working. It's just the chain was really tight. I had the chain tensioner backed off as much as I could, and this chain just fits really tight on there. But this was the chain I just made that cut with. It's just a hand filed square ground. Couldn't tell you the angles on it because it's just all freehand done on a file. I did that chain up a couple years ago with a hand file. I threw a tarp down so we could grab chips, so I could show you the differences in chips and stuff. Right here's the chips from the square ground, or square hand filed. So I don't know, I guess I'll put these on the chair over here. We'll do a pile of each one. I've got a hand filed I got a hand filed chain on it right now, hand round filed. I'll dump the tarp off, and I'll catch the chips from this one, or some chips, or however it works out. And that's not a fresh hand file either. That's got about as much runtime as that square hand file. And here's the chips on that. And when I get that chain pulled off, I'll show you the chain. Probably going to be a boring video, but I'm going to pause you and go swap out chains to a grind. Alrighty. Now that square hand file was an Oregon chain, and so was this hand file. That was the one that just made them cuts. Now this is a Husqvarna chain that's got a grind. What did I grind that one at? 50 and 25. Rakers have not been touched. Has not touched a piece of wood since it come off the grinder. So let's see how she'll do. The tarp's been dumped. Saw's going to end up falling on the ground on me. So that's straight off the grinder with stock raker height. I'll show you the chips here in a second. There's the chips. Now that 50 and 25, I use that grind a lot on high production tree work. It's fairly fast, and it holds an edge for a good long while. So let me pause you and I'll bring you back for the next one. Alrighty guys, this was that, I put my tape back on so I could keep track of what ones are what. This was the 50 and 25 that you just saw cut. That was fresh off the grinder. And I've got a, what is it, a 45 and 30 on there right now. We'll do that one, and then I'll change it out and show you. I got the tarp dumped here. Alrighty, there's the chips. I'll go put this on the chair. I'm gonna pause you, I'm gonna go swap out chains, and then I'll bring you back. Alrighty guys, I got it swapped out. This was the chain that just cut. If you guys want to see what the profile looked like, that was 45 and 30. This is a 45 and 25. So let's see how that does. The tarp has been dumped. Chips. Right, there's the chips. We'll throw them on the chair. I got one more grind show, and that'll conclude my testing today. So I'm gonna go pull that off and swap it out. Alrighty, I'll show you that was that 40 and 25 that just cut. The sun's shining on me, so it's hard to see what you guys are seeing. But there's that one. Now these three right here have not had the rakers touched at all, just on my grinder doing the teeth alone. These both have been hand filed, and these are used hand filed too. They're not fresh off the bench, you know. But rakers have been touched. I have no idea where any of them are sitting because I can't find my raker gauge. And this one is 60 and 25. So let's see what that does. After this one, I'll throw a different bar with a 3/8 chain of steel out of the box, a slightly used, it's only done a few cookies, a slightly used steel RS chain. I can't put it on this bar because this bar, all these chains are a fatter gauge than what I normally run. I can't remember. These are either like 063 or 058 or something like that. But these chains all fit this bar, and I'll have to throw a Forester bar and a steel RS chain on it for the last cut. So this, like I said, this chain here is 60 and 25. And the rakers have been touched on this one. I didn't touch them. It's you know, somebody else has touched them. This chain was rocked real bad, and so I used this one to put it at the 60 and 25 because the rakers had been touched. So hopefully it all equals out. I'm gonna have to scooch that log over before the next test. So I'll show you guys the chips. So there's the chips. I will go throw them. So I'm gonna pause you guys and I'll be back. Alrighty guys, I got a Forester Platinum bar on there with a slightly used out of the box steel RS chain. I can't use the Carlton bar because they're different gauges, but this was the chain that just cut. It was the 60 and 25, and you know, try to show you the profile of it. I'm gonna go set this over there. Well, I'll set it down here on the ground. We'll get this last cut done. I scooted this over as much as I could. If I go any farther over, it's going to fall off this, and that's going to change the angle of the log, and it could skew the testing. I think I'm only going to be able to get one cookie with the RS chain, but so. I kind of skewed that anyway. I kind of broke it off the last inch because I wanted because this is, if I wanted to done that, I would have hit this piece of steel down here. But let's show you the RS. Show you the RS chips. Got enough here. There's the RS chips. Let me go set these on a cookie. Alright, let me pause you and then I'll bring you over to what I want to show you. Alrighty, got you over here in the shade. Now, let's talk about a few things. Results are going to be kind of skewed all over the place because the proper way to done this would have been to take a bunch of brand new chains, grind them up all individually, and then sit there with a Raker gauge and set them all the same. I don't have that many new chains to go about doing this. I'm tired of having these chains sitting around. These chains only fit this bar that I have that is a steel mount. It does have an extra hole drilled in it. This is pretty much a brand new Carlton bar, really high quality. I really like the bar. It just sucks. I hate the gauge of it. I like 050. These are like 058 or 063 or something. I know they're fatter. When these get mixed in with my normal chains, I get mad because they won't fit in my steel bars. So I will be selling that bar, and all these chains can go with it. So if someone's looking for a high quality bar that they don't mind that the gauge is on. But so let's get talking about a few things. This was a get-together chain that I hand filed a couple years ago. It's only done a few like get-together things. It puts out, you know, nice sized chips. This is an old hand file that I did a few years ago that was I think for the same get-together, and the Rakers are fairly low on it. As you can tell, it's kind of got a little different style chip, but still plenty good chip. This is a 50 and 25 with stock height Rakers. It's got good chips. This was the 45 and 30 stock. Yeah, that one's got stock Rakers on it too. It's got nice sized chips. This was the 40 and 25 with stock Rakers. It's got really nice looking chips and some pretty long ones in there too. This was the 60 25. It's got nice chips, and it's got the Rakers have slightly been, looks like maybe some of these took a file and done a couple swipes, but the tooth's quite a bit smaller than the rest of them other than my hand filed one. And then here's the chips from out of the box, you know, RS chain. When you guys I chose the 461 because it's like making 9.25 horse, 9.29 I think was its best dyno pull. That saw don't bog down. I didn't want to do this test and have it skewed really bad from a saw that might not be able to pull a more aggressive chain or whatever. So I used a saw that just don't give a crap. Whatever chain you put on it, she pulls it. So that probably skews it too, but I think it makes the chains a little bit more accurate. But the thing I'm getting at is look at the speeds and the size of these chips, and a lot of these have a smaller tooth with a higher raker than what they did from the factory because I ground on them, and the rakers are stock. It's not necessarily your raker height. A lot of times I'll use you can tailor a chain to how your saw is pulling. A lot of times I'll use raker height to change how hard the saw pulls, gets pulled down if I'm that worried about it. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, 99% of the time my saws like when I went to Hopperstock last year and Sawfest last year, and 99% of my videos, if it's a ground chain, I tell you guys in the video. If not, just assume it's out of the box. I typically debut 99% of my saws that I port, I debut them with just an out-of-the-box chain, and the reason for that is I don't want to show off what I can do to a chain. I want you guys to see what my saw is doing on a stock chain, because 90% of the people I encounter, I don't want to sound mean, but there's a great deal of saw enthusiasts that are just not on par with sharpening their chains. And I've been sharpening chains since I was about 13, so I've got some pretty good practice. I can sit down and take a lot of time, and I can make a hand file absolutely blow every one of these out of the water. But I don't like to. It's just too dang time consuming. Where is it? This right here is probably my most used grind, because the results in different species of wood will vary too. This grind here, the 50 and 25, works great on all species. That's why I typically do that. The tree guys that I sharpen for, that's the grind they get. Obviously you can play around and raker heights, but if you guys are starting out sharpening chains, don't worry about the speed of the chain. That will come after you want a good high quality chip. If your saw's not pulling chips, if your chain's not pulling chips, your chain's not efficient, and you're probably putting a lot of extra wear and tear on your saw that don't need to be there. This should be the chips that you're trying to beat right here, and it's not hard to do. The stock RS chain is not hard to beat, not at all with a hand file or a grinder. But you should at least have that big of chips. Anything less than that, and you know, it's not good for your saw. You know, the square grind's probably got the smallest chips, and that's probably my fault on that. It's, you know, it was done by hand. I have no idea what the angles are. I'll admit I'm not the greatest hand square grind or square filer, but I can get it to smoke, you know, RS. But these two are not fresh by any means, and I wasn't going to spend time to do up well, for one, I don't have a file no more for square, but so I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Hopefully it helps you guys out, gives you an idea. If you know, take your time when you're using. Maybe I'll have to sit behind the grinder sometime and show you guys the light tap techniques that I use, so I don't burn the teeth and get big honking burrs on there. And if you do get a burr, you should be able to just touch it and it flake right off. If it's curled over and you can't get it off there, you're not doing something right. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I enjoy reading them. If this helps you guys out at all, and if you guys are interested in this bar and all these chains, I'd make somebody a pretty decent deal on them. Can't remember what I paid for that bar, but it hardly has any use on it. And so I don't know. Like I said, them two are Oregons. The rest of these are Husqvarna. I believe these two for sure were the C83s at one time. They're not now. They're whatever I ground on them. And I think this was just the old style Husqvarna. So, but not a very accurate test, but it gives you guys an idea. So I've probably blabbered on here enough. You guys enjoy this nice weather. Take it easy. Like, comment, subscribe. You guys take it easy and have a good one.